Welcome back to another video. What is happening? I hope you're all well. Thank you again to anybody that watched the last video. So I am, well, it's actually the weekend. I'm on pull today. I'm going back to Peak Physique, which is where I trained this session last week and where I used to train when I was just a young boy. So yeah, I thought I would just quickly start the video now. I'll probably talk in the car when I'm on my way there. Today is Sunday, I think I said that. I take photos on a Sunday, so just been going through all of that shit. I'm going to train a little bit earlier today. Things don't really change too much. Like I say earlier, it's very, very minor difference. It just means that I can do some other things today with Zena because she's off work, and probably be able to get a coffee, stuff like that, which would be nice. And yeah, training a bit earlier, to be honest. If I can train a touch earlier when I have less work to do, I like to do that, just because, especially with, well, it's weird. Off season, I like to do it because it gives me more time to eat food later on in the day when appetite's not as high. And right now, it gives me a chance to train when I have a little bit more energy. And obviously at the moment, that's earlier on in the day. So if I can train a little bit earlier when I can, I like to. But I also like to get most of my work done before I train. So in the week, most days, I don't tend to be able to train as early as I maybe would like to right now, just because I'd rather finish all of my work, or as much of it as possible, before having to go to the gym and then come back and do more work. You know, I don't really want to have like too much like mentally taxing work to do. So check-ins always get boxed off, but messages, things like that, I can always get back to. So yeah, like I said, a little bit less work today, just checking in with only a handful of people today, just following up with like diets, sort of like people that are checking in a little bit more frequently. So yeah, it's pretty much a bit more of a relaxed day on that front. Video starting here. I will probably catch up with you in the car. I'll probably talk through the session as well. I'm going to actually film like most of the session today because, like I said, it's a pretty cool gym. So we'll show you what's about there. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I'll catch you in the next video. Yes, guys. So we are going to talk through my pull session that I did at Peak Physique in Cardiff. So this is the gym that I trained at when I was just a young boy, like I said in that video, I believe. So it's pretty cool that I've been able to come back here for a few sessions, and I actually filmed a lot of it today. So starting out, we just sort of like warm up, get things moving. I always do this. I usually use like I think it's called like a Vulcan attachment or something like that. It's usually pretty good. It allows you to just sort of get the upper back, the rear delts, lats, everything sort of firing. I'll always do some form of like hanging leg raise or ab movement at the start. Not to failure, not to like train the abs, literally just to get my hips warm, and as well as that, get my brace on as well, and just get me sort of like firing in that area. I also find that just hanging tends to feel quite nice and opens me up as well, so that's why I do that. So first up, I usually have a chest supported or chest braced single arm pull down on a cable. However, this gym has the hammer strength reverse grip pull down. I'll be honest, I used to really like it, and I think the more you use it, the better it is. But positioning is quite difficult. I don't know if it's because at the moment I'm a bit lighter, I'm a bit smaller, so it kind of looks like getting into it just feels different. And where I want to be positioned is almost like, it's hard to describe. Like, I almost wish the chest support was able to be changed a little. But for what it is a good movement. Like, realistically, it is good. So I actually have 2 sets here. And with this being sort of like a hammer strength piece, it's very, very hard to get in the short, and you'll probably see in this first set that, like, I don't know how, I used to do like 4 plates or something on here. Arguably my form was maybe worse back then, but yeah, like this was pretty heavy today, or on this day, or a few days later now. So yeah, like getting it short, you can see is like, it's a challenge. Like, so yeah, feels a lot better on the second set, which I think I have in this clip here. So yeah, it felt a lot better on the second set, but it still feels good. Like, I get off it and I'm like, yeah, my lats have got something out of it, which is always a good thing. When you get off a movement, we can try and do it like textbook perfect, but if you get off it and it doesn't feel good where you've tried to train, then that's a problem. If it doesn't necessarily look perfect, but it feels good where you got off when you get off where you want it to, then sweet, you know, I'm usually going to be fairly happy with that. So I think that's something that often can be over like thought or over exaggerated in bodybuilding these days, is things looking perfect, but actually like how it looks is important, but how it feels is also just as important in some areas as well. So we've got the second set here of the dumbbell bent over row. Again, another movement that for some people they'd be like, oh my god, it's just like sloppy, like you're moving around loads, whatever. It feels great, like it does, and it also feels pretty cool with some metal dumbbells, just throwing them around. Like it's quite cool doing those here. But the dumbbells are damn heavy. I'm not gonna lie. Metal dumbbells, especially these, because they've been welded like 15,000 times. Yeah, they're pretty heavy. And they're definitely not like the weights that they're meant to be. Pretty sure you pick up one, it's like 40 kilos. The next one will be like 45. But yeah. Next up, we've got the single arm lat row and the hammer strength. So backed off on here, it actually just drops off a little bit then as you get into the shortened, which is great. A little bit heavier in the lengthened. Perfect. Throwing all these terms around. If you want to grow and get strong, just get strong and move some decent load with good form. You know, don't overthink it. I think that's, again, like I said, it's something that doesn't need to be overthought for majority of people. But this does feel good, to be honest with you. So yeah, I did actually come down a little bit on here just because I just find it's, at the moment at least, with being lighter, it tends to feel better on the back off. So I've actually just done the back off load for both sets and it felt pretty good. So I'll probably just stick with that moving forward. Because I have, again, this machine, I use this at Planet Fitness as well. So it's not like I need to change anything when I come to this gym, which is perfect. I can keep it consistent. It's 5 minutes down the road. And like I said, it's pretty cool to come back here. So next up, we have the wide grip pull down, I believe. Let's see if it goes into that. Yeah, so wide grip pull down. I actually messed it up a little bit here. So I normally go like barefoot or just like in socks. And I did that and I was just so slippery. Like you'll see when I go into the working set, if I go into it, I don't know how much of this I've kept in. But yeah, like when I had like the slides on here, it just felt better. But at the same time, like it was almost, I'm at that point, like people that diet will know the way that you fit into machines just changes and it's really, really frustrating. So like I've obviously lost a bit of body fat off my quads, even in the last like 10 days or whatever it's been. And like just the way that I fitted into this thigh pad just felt different. So it was a bit annoying. Like I couldn't get into the perfect spot. So I had my slides on for the warm up set and I was like, it's just a bit tight. But if I moved it up, it just didn't feel good. So I took them off for this set and it was like, it felt better, but then my feet were slipping. So it's just, it's not ideal. It actually messed up the set, which was really frustrating. So yeah, I think I got like 8 reps or something on here, which was, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was matched or maybe a rep down, but yeah, it just felt off, which was annoying. But yeah, it just felt off. So after this, I move upstairs in the gym, and I have biceps and then rear delt. So I think we're going to go into a bicep movement, which I never ever show. So for all the people that say, do you train arms? Yes, I do train arms. I just never film it because it's usually pretty boring. But this preacher here, it'll probably be really nice single arm, to be honest, but it feels good like this. So again, it's one of those where I just do it. I remember like being younger and just rinsing this like 10 sets of 10 or something. It also looks pretty cool in the mirror. I didn't even notice that. Look at that. That's fucking sick. What an angle. Yeah, it's like Universal or something like that. So it's an old school bit of kit, but it's very good. You know, it's one of those where I actually wish I could use it more often, but setting it up on like a cable or something just wouldn't be the same. It just feels great. Even the like bar attachment, like it's just some old shitty bar, but it just feels really, really good. And then on to hammer curls. So I have these 2 movements as my only bicep movements in here. I get great pump with 2 to 3 sets on the preacher. And then again with the hammer curl, feels really, really good. I will usually do 3 sets and they're all within a rep range of like 8 to 15 on both the preacher and the hammer curl. So yeah, I'll leave you watch the rest of these curls. There's like a couple reps left. And then there's some chatting in the car on the way to town with Zena. So I'll let you watch that. We are in the car. Zena's actually started a diet today. So
It's a secret diet.
Yeah, she's actually prepping. She's actually doing her pro debut.
A secret prep.
So yeah, anyway, Paul wrapped up for me a little bit earlier. Like I said, out going into town for a little bit. This is like one of the prep hacks that, if you don't know,
do you think other people call their city centre town? Or do you think that's just Cardiff?
No, they do.
Like going to town?
Obviously, everybody says that.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Like going to town?
But I don't want them going to Cardiff because I live in Cardiff. I'm not like from the valleys where I'm like, I'm going into Cardiff.
Or would you say like, I'm going to like the city centre?
Do a Welsh accent.
I can't.
Just do a Welsh accent now. Do a Welsh accent, I'll buy you a coffee.
I don't know what to say.
Do a Welsh accent.
Give me
Say I'm going into Cardiff.
Guys.
Like people from my gym would be like, I went into Cardiff on Saturday, but
That's pretty good actually.
whereas I'm just like, oh yeah, like I drove 10 minutes.
Just
And yeah, what I was saying was, it's a bit of like a prep hack. When you've got steps to do, you go shopping and it's so easy. And you spend money, which is good when you're on prep anyway. It's just like a little dopamine hit, even though Zena said to me, stop spending money. So yeah, we're gonna go and buy some stuff. I bought Zena some trainers and they don't fit her, even though they are her size.
Too fat.
So basically she's pushing off season too much. So AJ, good call on the diet.
My feet have gone up half a size.
Jesus Christ. She's now a size 9. No, so yeah, I bought her a 5.5 and she needs a 6. So we're gonna see if we can change those. They probably won't have them, so we'll probably have to get something different, which is fine. So yeah, what I was saying was, it's an easy diet hack, prep hack. You just walk around town, you treat yourself with a coffee or a few purchases.
To have a coffee.
Decaf, obviously. I only have a coffee in the morning. I'm just so bro.
You're so bro.
So bro.
So bro.
Yeah. If we do get a coffee, a nice big decaf, I get like a bucket of decaf in Costa. Zena's like is it called 200 degrees?
I've only been there once.
We had an argument once and I went to town on my own and went in there just because I could, because she wasn't with me. And she got so jealous.
I didn't. I didn't care.
She did care. Wait. We'll probably end up in Costa. Or maybe nowhere at all. Coffee one, maybe.
That's a Welsh thing. Did you know that?
Is it?
Yeah.
It's good.
I think Welsh plus Gloucester.
Although, I'm actually going to talk about food focus in this video. But we went there and I'm like, we're like peak off season. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to get something here. So I go to get a brownie. Zena's like, oh, let's get this. The worst thing ever. Like every single time that we get anything, there's this other place called like Miss Potts. There's like ridiculous like cakes. Zena's like, gets a brownie, heats it up. The worst possible thing ever. £6 down the drain.
That's why you should pick.
Every choice that I make.
I tell you to pick, but you don't.
She just chooses the most
fucking man in this relationship.
She picks the most weird, like just.
I'm like, you pick. You're like, no.
Yeah, because you always want to go like fancy. Just go plain.
You pick them.
You can't go wrong. Like.
You pick them.
Anyway. Right, we'll see you when we get coffee. Okay, so we are a few days later once again, and this is post-leg, so I'm going to talk you through a little bit of my leg session, which I actually believe is the same as what you would have saw in the first episode of Cav Raw, which was a couple of weeks ago now, which is mad. So yeah, we are episode 3. Things are going well so far, so I'm excited to keep them coming. But yeah, this day was legs. It was a decent session, but yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about it, and I also want to touch on a topic which is food focus, which is very, very real when you diet, and it's very, very real when you're in a prep. So obviously, depending on the type of person you are, you might experience food focus earlier or later. You may not experience it at all. It's probably unlikely if you get very lean or push a deficit pretty hard. However, dealing with it is pretty easy if you have the right tools in place. And I think what often happens is people don't have the right tools in place. They almost don't think that they should be hungry, and that's number one where things go wrong, in my opinion. So the first tip of dealing with food focus is embracing the fact that you are going to be hungry. I think if you try to avoid it with low-cal jellies, a load of different syrups, a million Monsters a day, a million of Pepsi Max, loads of volume foods that are going to just not actually help you, but make you just think about food more, and you're just constantly going to be thinking about how you can avoid the feeling of being hungry. I think that's definitely where people go wrong. And you see it all the time, you know. One of the things that I will always say to a client is, we're starting a diet, you're probably going to be hungry. The initial couple of weeks are going to take some adjustment to the level of hunger that you're going to have. But that's absolutely fine, you know. With hunger often comes more fat loss, which is, you don't want to massively correlate that. But at the same time, the days that I feel a little bit more hungry, or the days that I feel a little worse within a diet, usually are the days that I see new changes in the days to follow, at least. So that's tip number one. Tip number two, especially within a bodybuilding prep, is remembering why you're doing it. You're not doing it to feel amazing. You're doing it to look a certain way on a certain day. So you have to go through these periods of things that you haven't felt before, even if you've prepped before, to get to a place that you haven't necessarily been before. You know, it sounds cringy. You know, you've got to do something you haven't done before to get something you haven't had before, or whatever the saying is. But that's very real within a diet, and I think at different points within your life, you're going to experience different levels of hunger within a diet, which is going to bring along different levels of food focus. That brings me back to number one, which is embracing the fact that this is feeling a certain way because you're putting yourself through a process to get to that end goal, which should be your why. Now, there are some things that we can also do, which leads me on to number three, which is not looking at food and watching food videos all day long. It's become it's always been a thing, but I think when people diet, they tend to now watch full days of eating challenges, man vs food when that used to be on, or whatever it's called. I did used to like that when I was younger, to be fair. It's just like, yeah, I'm getting off track now, but I'm such a fussy eater, and I'm so plain. So all of the things that he would eat, I wouldn't even look at, but it just was cool to watch. But within a diet phase, you won't catch me watching those. You won't catch me looking at full days of eating. You won't catch me, scrolling on Instagram looking at food accounts. And if they do start to ping up, because inevitably, even if we try to avoid it, there will be the odd day where, let's say, a burger pops up on your Instagram, or a full day of eating pops up on YouTube, whatever it may be. But that's where muting those accounts, or you can actually say like don't suggest, is super, super useful, because the less that you look at these things, the less time you have thinking about food, which again is not what you need to do. If you're constantly thinking about how hungry you are, and you're constantly thinking about the food that you can't have, you're just going to start to resent the process. Your why is then not going to be strong enough for the majority of people. So, you need to remember that why, and remember that food's always going to be there, so you don't need to look at it right now. There's a time and a place when you can have that food, and there's a time and a place when you can look at it, and, in 6 months' time, you probably won't even want to look at food, which is another, off from the point, but something else that can actually help you is remembering that you're probably not going to even want that food at some point. And then the next thing is, don't pre-plan and don't buy a load of food. So don't go searching up what restaurants are around here, or making a big list of food places you want to go. There might be something that comes in your mind and you're like, oh, you know what? This is something that I think we should look to do. Like, for example, there may be a time where me and Zena will plan to book a holiday in X amount of time after prep, and it's like, oh, this place looks unreal, let's go here. Like, that's not as pre-planning, in my opinion, in a negative way. But if you're just making lists of, I want to eat this, I want to eat that, I want to do this, I want to do that. I mean, I've even heard of people pre-planning how they can reach X amount of calories. It's just not productive, and it's not going to help you in fat loss either. So definitely don't do that. And that also links to not pre-buying post-show food. What you want now and what you want post-show will probably be very different. I remember after all of my shows last year, I didn't want anything. I think after my first show last time I competed, I had chicken and potato. I literally had my normal rest day meal. And that's not me saying like, oh, I'm amazing. It's just what you actually want probably won't be what you think. So don't go buying a load of stuff and arguably shit, because chances are you won't want it and you'll just eat it for the sake of it, and then you're going to be in a really poor position after that. So I'll leave it there. That's some tips to deal with food focus. Here's the end of my leg press set, and I'll catch you in the next video. Good morning. Well, my morning, your afternoon, evening, maybe morning, whatever it is. I am going to wrap up the video here. So again, thank you to anybody that has watched this far. The last couple of days have been very good training sessions, but definitely more preppy days. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this up so I can get it out again for Sunday this week. And then yeah, I'm going to keep up with every weekend-ish. So it'll be either a case of hopefully Friday, Saturday, Sunday, depending on when I get sort of each one out. I may do it a bit earlier or a bit later the following week, just depending on what I film and how interesting it is. So yeah, currently just out on my usual AM steps, pineapple hydroflow. Yeah, it doesn't really look like much, but I don't know if anybody else agrees with this. The old hydroflows were like really bright in colour, but yeah, I've been using the pineapple and watermelon recently, and I actually think that the fact that the like cherry or the berry was like a bright pinky red colour actually made it a little bit more enjoyable for me. Maybe that's just prep, maybe that's just me being a bit crazy, but yeah, still good. Going in every morning as I do my walk, so easy litre of water in, which is another, if you haven't got your water in today, which if you are watching this in the night, then it's not very good, then start your day tomorrow with a good amount of water and you'll feel all the better for it. And even put some hydroflow in there, which you can get from Elite, and you can use Cav 10. There we go, little plug to end it there. If you've watched this far, share it on your story, tag me in. Not many people shared it last time. It's a bit disappointing. The first time I was like, oh, a lot of people sharing. This time I was like, anxiety kicks in and people liking it. Maybe they hate it, maybe they hate me, maybe I said something, who knows. No, I'm only joking. I appreciate all the support, I really do. So if you do enjoy it, then I would appreciate if you share it. This lighting's far better. I should have probably done it here from the start, but yeah, anyway, I hope you have a great session if you're training today. Hope you have a great week, and thank you as always for watching.